Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we will be kicking off a new series specifically for theories in the Borderlands universe. So the little bit of a pilot episode, so to speak, here will be in regards to what is Zer0. So to start this video off, I'd like to say that we are going to look into some of the more popular theories about what Zer0 may be. And we have a pretty good idea at this point that Zer0 isn't human, but instead something else altogether. We'll talk about these theories, we'll talk about the possibility of each of these theories being true or not, and which one I personally believe. So let's get into it. So first on the agenda is Zer0 being a Hyperion sniper. Now, we've faced these enemies before, and we know that they can go invisible just like a stalker can, and of course so can Zer0. Now, if we look back to the pre-sequel, we learn about a scientist named Dr. Grayson who is working on using stalker glands to make portable cloaking devices, which look quite similar to Handsome Jack's pocket watch. We know that Zer0 has quite a few skills that are useful for sniping in general as well, but this really isn't enough to get me to buy into this either. Another thing to mention is at least the character models in Borderlands for the Hyperion snipers all have four fingers and a thumb, and they also have very human-like features, whereas Zer0's features are a bit off. Also, if we look to the interaction that Jack has with Angel, we can see that she has no idea what Zer0 is, and with the vast knowledge that she has access to, you'd think she'd have some information regarding someone, or at the very least something that is part of the Hyperion Corporation. So next up is Zer0 being an Iridian. So this one's pretty interesting. If we look at Zer0's features again, there's almost no resemblance at all to a Guardian. But here's the kicker. Guardians are not Iridians. Athena makes this clear in the Holodome DLC. She says, and I quote, "The Iridian Guardians are biomechanical constructs, perhaps made in the image of Iridians themselves, but not flesh and blood." This means we have no idea if Iridians look like Zer0, or like Guardians, or like something entirely different. The major piece of information leading me to believe that he is not an Iridian is the fact that he came to Pandora looking for a challenge and had absolutely no knowledge of the vaults until it was mentioned to him. Of course, if he was one of the last few Iridians to have not died out, then maybe he doesn't know about his origins. Maybe he doesn't know anything about who he is or what he is, but I still find this theory to be very, very unlikely. So now let's talk about the probability that Zer0 is an alien outside of the known 24 planets and Elpis, the moon. We know that Zer0 only has 3 fingers and a thumb, and we know his features are slightly human-like but distorted a bit, and we know that he doesn't run out of breath when sprinting. Speaking on the other hand, Zer0 takes breaths before speaking, but I wouldn't necessarily write this up as canon, because this literally could just be the voice actor acting and breathing, because he is in fact a human. So the common depiction of aliens in film look like this, which isn't all that far off from, Zer0's features. He has an elongated head, he has less fingers, and also he's a bit taller, and if you look at him, his gait and his stance is close, but not exactly the same. And of course, since there isn't much more than that to go on, and there's no way of confirming this or denying this, I'll leave it at this. We know Zer0 isn't human, which gives some weight to this theory. And lastly, the theory that I personally believe, Zer0 is a robot, or at the very least, a cyborg. We know that Zer0 has limited emotions. He of course sounds like a robot due to his voice having some sort of modulation on it, or because he is actually a robot. If we look at Wilhelm compared from the pre-sequel to Borderlands 2, we can see his voice progressing further towards modulation as well, which lends itself well to the idea of Zer0 actually being a cyborg. Now, Zer0, as previously mentioned, doesn't run out of breath when running, which is certainly something that a human does, but not a robot. A cyborg may also have some technology integrated within themselves that can either make breathing much, much easier, or something that it does for the user altogether. Additionally, when Zer0 achieves a second wind, he may say, and I quote, "Second wind achieved, metaphorically speaking, breath overrated." This is Zer0 quite literally saying that when he's talking about second wind being achieved, it's metaphorical and breath is overrated, which is a huge piece of information leading me to believe that he, in fact, actually does not breathe. Again, another piece of interesting information to note is the fact that many of the robots in Borderlands, of course not all of them, but many of them have numbers integrated into their names, like Claptrap, the Warden bot that takes Roland, or Sensor Bot, for example. And then, of course, we have Zer0. Just another coincidence that is adding more and more weight to the theory, or are you reading too much into this? We're not sure. But of course, he could also be an alien cyborg. We just don't know. But personally, I buy into this theory that Zer0 is a robot, or at the very least, part robot. So, this is the part where I ask you, what's your thoughts on the theory? Which ones do you believe? Which ones don't you believe? These are just the popular ones out there, so there may be a theory that you think is correct that I didn't mention in this video. So, why don't you hop in the comments section down below and let us know about that? If you like this sort of thing, guys, and you want me to continue a theories-based series, leave a like, let me know about it. And of course, if you like Borderlands, you like talking about it, you like info on it, you want to keep up to date with everything, consider subscribing because I do a lot of Borderlands stuff. And of course, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Later.